A very good evening, all of you. Today we have an eminent speaker as our resource person, Professor A. Raghunath Sir, Head Department of Law and Director for Research and Publication, Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. Sir is having 32 years rich experience to share with us. He is going to speak on the topic review of literature. Now I request Dr. Irfan Abbas Ali, our part-time faculty, to introduce our today's resource person.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to the online session. Professor Dr. A. Raghunath Reddy is a professor of international law, head of Department of International Law, Director, Research and Publications at the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Sir has done his law in constitutional LLM in constitutional law and international law, MBA in human resource management, and his PhD on freedom of press at MD University, Rohtak. Sir has more than 35 years of teaching experience in law at UG and PG levels, starting from 5 years as a lecturer in AC Law College, Guntur, 15 years as assistant and associate professor of law in SK University, Anantapur, and 15 years as professor of law in Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Sir has produced several PhDs in law and also guiding many scholars for PhD in law at Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. Sir has also published in-house journal ALUJ with ISSN under his stewardship at the Ambedkar Law University. Sir has been a visiting professor at Annamalai University, VIT Vellore, at the SRM University Chennai, University of Kerala, Gonzaga Law School, USA, Indian Maritime University Chennai, MGR Janaki College Chennai, Savita Law School Chennai, Bharat Law School Chennai, and academic staff colleges of Usmania University, University of Mysore, University of Madras, at Government Law College Ernakulam, Kerala, and also at VLS University, Chennai. Sir has participated in several national and international seminars and presented papers on topics of extreme relevance. Sir has also organized seminars at national, state, regional, and international levels. Sir is also a member of several academic bodies and research institutions, to name a few, like the ILI Institute, Delhi, Commonwealth Legal Education Association, London, Asian Society of International Law, UGC NAC for accreditation of NAC to university colleges, PG Board of Studies, Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai, Board of Studies, Pondicherry University, Board of Studies, Maritime University, Chennai, Board of Studies, National University of Advanced Legal Studies, Newell's, Kochi, and also member of the Academic Senate at the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. Sir has also done several research projects, including minor and major research projects of UGC, and also Sir has been a member of the doctoral committee at Bharat Law School Chennai, VLS Law School Chennai, and also judge of several national and international moot courts. Professor Raghunath Reddy Garu has also published several papers in leading legal journals and was a course writer for law of contracts and legal regulation of economic enterprise for LLM course at Annamalai University. Sir has also visited Adelaide, South Africa, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Ontario, Canada, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Beijing, China, Spokane, USA, London, and also Singapore on several academic trips. And Sir has vast administrative experience as Head Department of Law, SK University, Dean, School of Excellence in Law for UG, PG, and research courses at Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. And Sir has also been in charge and acting Vice Chancellor at Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University on different occasions. We welcome you, Sir, and request you to begin the session with your August lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Redfan. Thank you, Madam, for your.
Thank you, sir.
So the topic allotted for me for presentation is a review of literature. A review of literature is an essential part of all kinds of research, whether it is a socio-legal research or legal research or PhD thesis writing or LLM dissertation. It is very important in the sense it is an integral part of research work. It is a type of critical review, providing a reasonable coverage of the subject's field. You should summarize the broad content of the books and articles and relate those things to the proposed study. The literature review is a survey of scholarly sources such as books, journals, articles, and theses related to a specific topic or research question. Normally, it is an essay format. It should have an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion. So, if you look at PhD work, normally the literature review will be given in the thesis after the introduction. And in some of the PhD theses, a separate chapter will be devoted for literature review immediately after the introductory chapter. The literature review is it seeks to lay a foundation for the current research. The new thesis should not be seen as an isolated study. It is a study which exists already in an academic tradition. The purpose of the literature review is to try to establish the nature of that tradition. Therefore, my dear friends, the principal purpose of literature review is to establish an academic and research areas which are having relevance to the subject of the research. There are so many academic areas, my dear friends. The latest topics are there. So you can do research on the judgments of the recent judgment of the Supreme Court, and also you can do research work on any topic you like, on any topic of your choice by connecting to the COVID-19 pandemic also. So nowadays, everywhere we are watching the webinars on topics related to COVID pandemic, the judicial process in the COVID-19 pandemic, the fundamental freedoms in COVID pandemic, like that. So what is the role of non-legal facts in judicial process, extra-legal facts in judicial process? Why? Because law is radically indeterminate, incoherent, and contradictory, producing different results. So law is always in a state of flux. Law is no. So therefore, you can have a topic of any choice, provided you should find out some gaps in the legal research. So, for example, there are so many gaps in research. So, if you look at euthanasia, right to die with dignity, right to life includes right to die. There are so many decisions, Maruti, Sripati, Dubal, the Bombay High Court decision, and afterwards there are so many Supreme Court decisions starting from Ratinam. Ratinam was overruled in Gyan Kaur. Now Gyan Kaur and Aruna Shanbag. So this judgment in Common Cause versus Union of India 2018 is silent on the constitutional validity of the attempted suicide under section 309 IPC. This is a gap. So why? Because the Medical Health Care Act 2017 has some specific provisions to decriminalize attempted suicide. But attempted suicide is not decriminalized under IPC. However, that is how section 309 and section 306 of IPC continues to exist in the IPC, demanding correction in apparent inconsistencies in Indian criminal law. So, this verdict of the Supreme Court in common cause appears to be an extension of judicial observations in Gyan Kaur and Aruna Shanbag, where the Apex Court has legalized passive euthanasia. So, K.S. Puttaswamy decision, where Justice Chalamesar has given a separate opinion, has observed that life includes right to refuse life-prolonging medical treatment, and he has brought this right to death within the zone of privacy. So, you can take up this topic for your research, and before doing research on this topic, you can prepare literature review, because there is a wide gap in this field. Similarly, like that, there are so many fields. So you can do research in right to public services in India. So many state governments have passed legislations on right to public service. This is very important, particularly in this pandemic times. We have so many legislations implementing direct to principles of state policy. MG Mahatma Gandhi, Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Food Security Act, and so on. The right to public services in India, there is no central legislation. Of course, there are so many state legislations providing access to food. So, under the food grains are given in ration this pandemic. So many people are dying in this emergency situation for want of food. The government is not providing 2 square meals a day. There is starvation deaths. There are so many suicide deaths taking place in this emergency times in this country. And right to life, now, in the whether it is in this background, whether right to life includes right to death, decent death, decent burial. The questions of decent burial, decency starts from life to from birth to death, from womb to the tomb. So all these are the questions which you can do, a detailed research on this topic. Similarly, the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. See, this is a very good topic, because right to life, when the when the government is not protecting your life, where do you go? There is no availability of bed in the hospital. The corporate and private hospitals are exploiting the COVID patients. They are looting the people. And if there is a death of COVID patient, there is no decent burial. Proclaim and JCP is, lifting the body to the burial ground. So therefore, when a COVID patient dies, there is no information to the family members of the patient also. There is no decent burial, no cremation. But the Constitution says these rights are available from birth to death. So this is a wonderful topic for LLM dissertation and also for PhD thesis. You can think of taking up this topic, because before you begin a literature review, you have to do background research. So at the time of doing background research, you can think of a topic like this. Similarly, the basic structure of the Indian Constitution is also a good topic, because it is forever grows but never ages. It is always just like law, the basic structure is also in a state of flux. It is a tribute to the creative genius of the judges. So you can think of basic structure doctrine includes so many other things also. Right to privacy is also included in the basic structure. Similarly, right to vote, now NOTA, right to vote includes right to know the criminal antecedents of the person who is going to contest in the election. Similarly, right to vote includes right not to cast vote also, that is nota for cleansing our body politic. This has been recognized by the Supreme Court, recommended for the Election Commission in People's Union for Civil Liberties and also Association for Democratic Reforms. So therefore, free and fair election, which is also a basic, one of the basic features of the Constitution, you can have this topic for nota for cleansing the body politic, for to maintain free and fair elections. You can have this topic for your research. So similarly, so there are umpteen number of, law is an ocean. There are umpteen number of topics for your research. So before doing this literature review, you have to study background study, planning and organization of your literature is very important. So for planning and organization, you need to study, you could have a background study. You can think of commercial surrogacy also in India. The legal scenario is murky in this country. There is no protection for the surrogate mothers. No, there is no legal regulation of this commercial surrogacy. Still there are so many bills introduced from time to time. They are in the form of bills only. There is no protection afforded to the poor women, illiterate and women. No legal provision to define vulnerability, because poor women, indigent, illiterate women are highly vulnerable for this commercial surrogacy, and there is no safety for the children also. So therefore, you can think of doing research on socio-legal implications of commercial surrogacy, because you can start your work from this fertility revolution and the changing concepts of family and identity, a socio-ethical legal study. You can study socio-legal implications of this assisted reproductive technology, to which this commercial this surrogacy belongs. Similarly, if you want to study have some area in international law, to say, first of all, you have to decide whether you want to do your research in international law, constitutional law, family law, or commercial law. So if you want to do research in international law, ICC is a very fertile area for your research, which is ICC, International Criminal Court, is created by Rome Statute, having the question is whether this ICC is having universal jurisdiction, because there are some jurisdictional problems for ICC. ICC is having jurisdiction to prosecute the offenses the offenses committed against the war crimes, offenses, piracy, etc., like that. So this is a very important area, priority area in international law, ICG. You can, because just like this Nuremberg tribunals, Tokyo tribunals, special tribunals for Rwanda, special tribunals on former Yugoslavia. So these two tribunals were created by the Security Council resolutions, unlike ICC, because ICC is created by a treaty. It is a treaty, which is responsible for the for giving birth to ICC. So the ICC is a very fertile area. You can take up this topic for research. So like that, first of all, you have to decide in legal research, in international law. When we were students of international law, we studied international law only from the state perspective. Now an individual is also a subject of international law. Why? Because till recently the individual was objectified. Now the individual is brought to the center stage of international law, to the arena of human rights, international human rights. So therefore, an individual is bound by international. An individual is a subject of international. The individual or a person is having now international is personified. An individual has got so many rights and obligations under international. So therefore, from this angle, you can study ICC in the international. Like that, there are so many other areas in international law. Similarly, in constitutional law also, you can think of doing research in the field of constitutional law. Why? Because, see, constitutional law is the mother of all laws. Constitutional law is the paramount law of the country. See, why? Because there are so many other criminal law provisions also now which are tested under the constitutional, on the touchstone of the constitutional law. For example, I will say the homosexuality is criminalized under IPC under section 377. Now, the Delhi High Court in Naz Foundation decriminalized homosexuality. The Supreme Court in Suresh Kumar Kaushal has recriminalized homosexuality. The Supreme Court again in another important case, Navatej Johar. In this case, it has decriminalized again, once again, upholding the Delhi High Court's view in Naz Foundation. So therefore, homosexuality is no more an offense. So why? Because this is a very important area in the sense there are so many criminal law provisions which are outdated. Homosexuality is no more a crime in some parts of the world, and similarly, there is adultery is no more a crime. Why? Because adultery, which is a punishable offense under section 497 IPC, is decriminalized in so many parts of the world. It is a colonial era, Eric. It is a Victorian, morality. So, which is against the constitutional morality. Now, all these provisions, just I am saying few criminal law provisions. Section 497, which talks about adultery. Section 377, which talks about the homosexuality. Like that, now there is a rethinking going on for the deletion, for the abrogation of sedition under IPC. So, my dear friends, it is in this background you can think of why. Because law is always not static. The law is dynamic. Law is more flexible. Law is to be made adaptable, flexible in accordance with the changing times and circumstances. So therefore, like that, the constitutional law, which is the fundamental law of the country. So therefore, all these criminal law provisions you can test on the touchstone of the constitution. Now, there is a rethinking going on about the criminalizable harm in India. Why? Because homosexuality is not going to cause any harm to the society. It is not going to cause any harm to others. Then why it is made criminal offense under IPC? You can think of this from the angle of constitutional morality, which was expounded by this Delhi High Court in Naz Foundation. So therefore, the court has identified diversity as an important aspect of constitutional morality and rejected devilian type of public morality or popular morality. So everything, all this criminalization, the policy of criminalization must be guided by the constitutional principles. Constitutional morality, which is an aspect of transformative constitutionalism, is very important for you to think about this, whether this harms, homosexuality. Similarly, this passive begging, they are not going to cause any harm to the society, but still they are made offences in IPC. So therefore, it is the time for us to have a research on this, because if you look at the constitution, the scheme of the constitution, there is no express guarantee of right not to be criminalized. For everything it is criminalized. There is over criminalization. There is more criminalization. If there is more criminalization, there will be no rule of law. There will be less rule of law. So therefore, it is a time for us to look at this area and conduct a thorough research, so that you will have right against unfair criminalization or right not to be criminalized, which is a fundamental right that will be incorporated under the Constitution of India. So therefore, my dear friends, the constitutional morality is having so many facets. On the one hand, the constitutional morality secures the dignity and freedom to the individuals, prohibits affront of diversity and even of different sexual orientation. So therefore, the word sex under Article 15 of the Constitution includes sexual orientation also. A person can have different sexual orientations, which comes under the privacy aspect of an individual. So now this is the time for the people like the scholars, PhD scholars, who are reinventing the principles of criminalization with the constitutional morality. Though some research has been done by Malimat Committee on Criminal Law Reforms in 2007. That was criticized by so many people like Professor Upendra Bakshi. So therefore, now a thorough research can be done on the reforms of criminal justice system. Now, there was a draft policy also in the year 2007 which recognizes that decriminalization should become as a part of national policy. So it is from this background, decriminalization of so many offences as part of national policy. You should keep it in mind while when you take up any topic in criminal law. You have to connect that topic to the constitutional, because constitutional law, from constitutional angle, you can do very important research. So it is one such area, gray areas for research. Similarly, the constitutional morality includes inclusivity. So it includes inclusive education, inclusivity, and also on the one hand, and also distributive justice on the other hand. So therefore, constitutional morality doctrine is spread over throughout the Constitution, starting from preamble. You will find the doctrine of constitutional morality in Part 3 and Part 4 also in the form of socio-economic revolution. You can take up this topic. It is a very important area for your research. Similarly, you decide whether you want to do PhD in. So the another important area, there are so many like that gray areas, the labor law. There are so many labor law standards. Finalized by ILO, and those labor standards were incorporated in Minimum Wages Act, Employees Insurance, Equal Pay for Equal Remuneration Act, and so many other legislations. Why? Because directive principles of state policy, they are very important, though they are not enforceable, not justiciable, but still they are fundamental in the governance of the country. And whenever a law is made by the state for the implementation of the directive principles of state policy, the state always keep in mind the policies, the the policy perspectives underlying in part of the constitution. It is in public interest. Therefore, public interest always gets its orientation from part 4 of the constitution. Now, Food Security Act, very important legislation. If you think of doing research on food security, so many people are dying in this country for want of food, dying. Starvation deaths are taking place. So similarly, so many people for migrant labor, there is no payment of wages, there is no work. In this background, when they are staying at home, there is no work, no home, no shelter, no food. So therefore, this NREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is a very important area, is a very topic, because it is not implemented properly, especially in the pandemic emergency time. You can take up this topic for your research. Then, like that, there are so many other. So our country is known for unity in diversity, having so many cultures, so many religions, so many languages. So this cultural diversity, cultural and religious diversity, as a result, there are so many personal laws, family laws or divergent personal laws are there. So it is in this background the Supreme Court has the Supreme Court has from Shabano case, from Shabano onwards, from Sarala Mudgul, in so many other cases, Sayara Bano, up to. So you can take up all these areas for research. Is it the time for enactment of uniform civil code? How can we have uniform civil? See, my dear friends, we have signed the International Covenant on social, cultural, and political, social, cultural, and economic rights. We are part the state. Our country is a party for this convention. Our state is also a party for CEDAW, Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. So therefore, all these personal laws are discriminatory laws. They are discriminating women. They are subordinating women to men. So these laws can be, secularized on the touchstone of the Indian Constitution. Slowly, secularization has started. In the beginning, it was not like so. Now the Constitution, on the plank of equality, on the plank of other fundamental rights, these family laws are being tested on the touchstone of the Constitution, on the touchstone of the constitutional morality. See, I can give you one latest case decided by the Supreme Court in Indian Young Lawyers Association versus State of Kerala. So where the Supreme Court said that you cannot prevent women of this age group from 10 to 50, prevent them from going to Sabarimala on the for their pilgrimage, because it is a discriminatory practice. It is an exclusionary practice. You are linking women as untouchables. So what offense they have committed? Why are you not permitting them to enter into the Sabarimala temple? So therefore, the Supreme Court has promoted gender justice, gender equality by giving a epoch-making decision in the Young Lawyers Association versus State of Kerala. Now women are not the second-rated citizens of the country. They are the equal citizens of this country. Women should not be discriminated on the grounds of their biology, on the grounds of their menstruation, on the grounds of their biology, and so on. It is not a sin. It is not a sin, nor any other. Just like homosexuality is not a sin, this is not a sin. So therefore, the Supreme Court has permitted these women of this age group to enter into Sabarimala. But whether Muslim women are allowed to visit Dargah, mosque, that is a pending before the Supreme Court. So therefore, this gender justice, gender equality is a very important area for your research. There are number of decisions available for you and you can prepare a wonderful literature review on this topic, my dear friends. So therefore, the literature review, before you take up literature review, you should start a background, a thorough background study. Therefore, my dear friends, literature review seeks to lay a foundation for your current research. It is to establish the academic and research areas which are of relevance to the subject of your research. The primary function of the literature review is to try to establish those academic areas in which are located the previous studies and the research which are most relevant to the current study. So it is clearly providing linkages with other studies in the field. So therefore, the planning and organizing, examining strategy for coping with the apparent lack of relevant studies is a very important thing which you should keep in mind while preparing literature review. So therefore, literature review is usually concerned primarily with the research and writing connected with the main subject matter of the research study. It is not usually concerned with the literature connected with the methodology, research methodology. It is usually placed near the beginning of the topic, as I was saying in the beginning of my presentation. Largely, the type of literature is available to use reports of the research relevant to the subject matter of your thesis. The main literature of such research will be the articles in academic journals. See, my dear friends, you have to go through, you have to study seriously the academic journals. There are so many journals. Indian Law Institute journal is there. This is Indian Law Institute is the Center for Research in Delhi. Similarly, in every national law school, there is a research journal. Kerala University is having a good journal. Similarly, in NUALS, Bangalore, National Law School, Bangalore, NELSAR, all the national law schools are having journals. Please go through those journals and so that you will get an idea. What is the research? Research is nothing but fusion of ideas. First of all, you should get an idea as to on what topic I should go to about. What is the area on which I want to do research? Are there any studies earlier conducted? If so, whether those studies are foreign studies or domestic studies. If it is a domestic study conducted by at the national level, whether those studies are doctrinal studies or empirical studies. How far, whether there are gaps. So if you go through like that, you will find gaps in the research. This is how you have to go about the literature study. If there are no studies at the national level, you see the studies in international level, foreign studies. If there are any foreign studies, still you can take up the topic and do research from Indian point of view. So therefore, academic reports, academic journals, that is the first and foremost source of your literature review. Reports of research published as books and pamphlets. Somehow nowadays, my dear friends, government agencies and official organizations are frequently commissioning small-scale research studies and publish them for distribution within the profession. Such publications can be very useful source of relevant literature. So the literature study, while for literature review, before that I was talking about the background study, planning and organization is very, very important. So first thing is make use of the staff in the library. The library staff will be able to locate the relevant articles both in the subject specialization journals available in the print media and also online. So what are the available journals in print media? Go there. There are so many catalogs available in front of the library, in the corridors of the library, catalog, author catalog, title catalog, like that. Go through these catalogs. They are in print media, print sources. Only then obtain your online sources afterwards. So this is both the print and online sources are essential resources. Then, if you are doing collecting materials, references, obtain your sources from online resources means there are sources like Bestla, Manupatra and the like. Under no circumstances, please don't use Wikipedia, because do not use sources like Wikipedia because they do not include the details of the author and also the details of date of publication. And once the literature review is over, the key to success at this point is planning together with a clear structure. What is the structure of your review? So what is the structure means? You should have subheadings, headings and subheadings, as many subheadings as possible. So therefore, the structure of your thesis should be, first of all, there should be an introductory part, then main body, and also a conclusion part. And if you look at the basic components of literature review, description, you have to describe about the publication, the summary of the publication's main points, discussion of the gaps in research. What are the gaps? I was talking about the gaps in law, say international law, constitutional law, labor law, family law, and so on. So family law, now I was talking about uniform civil code, which is impossible in this country because of divergency, of culture, divergency of religion, and legal plurality. So therefore, this is very important because the religion is a formidable challenge in the enactment of uniform civil code in this country. So we have to respect all religions, we have to respect all cultures. This legal plurality, diversity is also one of the basic features of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court has said in Sayara Banu. So you take up research from Shabano to Sayara Banu. This is a very important. In Sayara Banu, triple talaq was, the Supreme Court has decreed on triple talaq. No triple talaq. So as a result, now there is a law also come to place, the Protection of Muslim Women's Rights on Marriage Act. When there was a decision of the Supreme Court in Shabano, there was a coup and crime from Kashmir to Kanyakumari to circumvent the Shabano judgment. As a result, there was a law passed by the Supreme Court, by the Parliament to circumvent Shabano case. What is the law? The Muslim Protection of Women's Rights on Divorce Act. So, like that, whenever there is a decision passed by the Supreme Court, our people do not know it is a decision passed by, when there was a Shabano judgment passed by the Supreme Court, justice was a Hindu judge. So he is not a Muslim. He heard the matter, Muslim matter, like that. So these are all the problems, my dear friends, which you have to, because when in the judicial process, the ideology, the policy, judicial policy, the ideology of the judge also plays a very important role in delivering the judgments. You can take up this topic for your research. So, my dear friends, a good literature review is organized around a coherent set of questions. So, what are the questions we are going to ask? You ask all these questions. They are very important in the preparation of literature review. You have to choose material. What kind of material is important for me? Choosing material, searching for good material. So literature search is very, very important. Searching for literature is very, very important. So for searching for literature, you need to go through so many book reviews also. If you go through book reviews are there available in the Indian Institute journals, ILA journals are there in so many. Hindus also whenever there is a book published by Oxford publisher or Cambridge publisher, those books review will be published in Hindu. Reviews of the books are published in ILA journals, Society of International Journals. So go through, my dear friends, go through the book reviews are very important. They are the materials, offering materials from them. From these book reviews also you can choose material relevant for your proposed research. So searching for good material is another important question. Then you have to assess the literature. What kind of literature is literature? Outdated literature is not at all required. So you have to update latest literature is what is the available literature on the subject. What is the available literature? Generation of knowledge literature is available on the topic. So developing literature research is very, very important in the process of literature review. Placing literature research in dissertation, thesis, so normally we are adjudicating so many PhD theses. My dear friends, it's a fact. In some of the PhD theses, there is no literature review at all. Now, I am saying that literature review is very important, which lays foundation for your research. It is the nucleus. But then, in so many PhD theses, there is no literature review at all. But still, we are recommending either for the awarding of PhDs or recommending for revision or insufficient, etc. So therefore, there are so many questions which you have to ask yourself before doing your literature review. Assessing the literature, developing literature search. Ask yourself questions such as, what is this specific question type or focus for my assignment? What is the specific question? You maintain notes. Maintaining notes is very, very important at the time of preparing literature review. What kind of material do I need? What kind of material do I need? Is it a theory or methodology or policy or empirical data? If so, whether this empirical data is available where? Is it available in the print or online resources? This is very important. What kind of material do I need? What type of literature is available in the library? Say journals, books, and government documents. What kind of literature is particularly authoritative in this academic discipline? So why? Because normally literature available in the newspapers, newspaper clippings you should not use for preparing literature reviews. Why? Because they are all based upon newspaper hype and gossips and all. So therefore, newspaper clippings are not authoritative sources for literature review. Has any research been wide enough to ensure that I have identified all the relevant materials? Whether your research is very wide enough. If your research is very wide enough, narrow down your research. Narrow down. Go into deep. You take up only the specific area of your topic. So if some topic, you take up some topic, if there is no research from the human rights point of view or from human rights perspective, you do research from human rights perspective. So recently I got one PhD thesis, human rights available for non-citizens. Normally human rights are available for citizens, there is no doubt. What are the human rights available to non-citizens? Who are the non-citizens? Stateless persons, refugees. So like that. So what are the human rights available for the non-citizens? And there are some fundamental freedoms available for non-citizens under the Constitution as well. So this is very important. What kind of literature is particularly authoritative? Whether this is authoritative in my academic discipline. Has my research been very wide enough to ensure that I have identified all the relevant materials? Yes. If it is your wide topic, you try to impose some limitations, you try to narrow down your topic, you confine your topic to a specific area that is advisable. On the other hand, has the research been very narrow enough to exclude irrelevant material? If the area is very narrow, you exclude all other materials. So this narrowing down or very wide, these are the questions which come up for preparing literature review when your research is on empirical research. Is there a good enough sample of literature for the level of my dissertation or thesis? Good enough sample of literature. How I considered as many alternative points of view as possible. Will the reader find my literature review relevant, appropriate, useful? So you have to, while preparing literature reviews, you have to think from the angle of the reader also. The reader is very important. He is the better judge when you are preparing the literature review. So therefore, why this literature review is important? Why? Because it is describing how the proposed research is related to the prior research. So this is very important. It is your literature review is providing linkage, how your proposed research is related to prior research. Are there any studies? If so, there are so many studies. My answer is yes. But on this aspect, there was no study. From human right angle, there was no study. So from Indian point of view, there is no study. So there you should go for the specific research. Whether you are doing research at macro level or micro level, whether if you are going to deep, it is micro level research, or whether your research is macro level, general. This is also important, which you should decide when you are doing this literature review. So, so that if you are taking all these kinds of precautions, all these instructions carefully while preparing literature review, then only your literature review will be a critical literature review that shows the originality, relevance of your research problems. So therefore, literature review shows the originality and relevance of your research problem. It justifies your proposed methodology, your proposed research. There are so many gaps in the law. There is no law. Say, for example, sometimes instead of gaps, you will find no absence of law also. There are so many areas on which no laws are available. For example, I will tell one example. The Supreme Court has said, when there is a mob violence taking place in the country in the name of Gau Samrakshana Samiti, cow protection vigilantes are involved in killing so many people in the name of cow, in the name of protection of cow. So there is a mob violence. Supreme Court has come forward with a proposition, with a direction that it is the time ripe for the country to have a law on anti-lynching law, because there is no anti-lynching law. So many people are killed in this country, lynched in this country in mob violence in the name of cow protection, in the name of cattle breeding, etc., etc. So therefore, the Supreme Court has recommended for a law like anti-lynching law. There is no anti. Why don't you take up this this topic for your research? You can do empirical research. Similarly, so many people know there is one fundamental duty which is incorporated under Article 51A of the Indian Constitution. What is the fundamental duty? To develop scientific temper and promote inquiry and reform. So reform is very, very important. Law is not static. Law is always dynamic. When some law is not performing, you reform the law. When you reform the law, it will perform. Why reform? For transforming the society. Constitutional law is a transformative document. Constitutional law is, Indian Constitution is known for transformative constitutionalism. It has transformed the lives of so many people promoted the well-being of the people, the progress, prosperity of the people. So therefore, reform, theory. Kindly don't believe, the black magic, blind beliefs, superstitions. There is no anti-superstition law in this country. This is a glaring, there is a no law, no law. So many people anti-superstition crusaders like, Govind Pansare, Kal Burge, Gauri Lankesh in Bangalore. So they are all anti-superstition crusaders. They were brutally assassinated by the fundamentalists in this country. And why? Because they are, promoting scientific temper. They are against these blind beliefs, black magic, superstitious beliefs, witch hunting, witchcraft, etc., etc. There is no anti-superstition law. This is the time. So the first state for framing this law is Maharashtra, afterwards followed by Karnataka and some of the northern states. So there is a growing intolerance in this country, growing intolerance. As a result, so many people are killed, so many people are lynched. It is the time for us to study on this aspect. There is no anti-lynching law, no anti-superstition law like that. So if you look at the anti-corruption crusader like Anna Hazare, now we have a law. So many laws are anti-corruption laws are there in place. Lokayukta, Lokpal legislation is in place. So this is how you have to take up, you have to probe into deep before you take up this topic for us. So there should be clarity. First of all, there should be clarity on your part before preparing this literature. What is the topic on which I have to go about my research? The topic is very important. Whether the topic is unexplored area, whether the topic is having socio-legal relevance, whether it is a topic on which there are more studies available. If more studies are available, don't do research on that topic, because it is nothing but duplication. It is nothing but repetition of the study. You are not creating any new knowledge to the field of already existing knowledge. So by doing research, you must be able to create new knowledge. There are five important key points in preparation of literature review. First of all, there should be thesis. There should be for thesis, before finalizing thesis, you have to conduct research, thesis, finding out the gaps. Then so like that, there are very important. There are the key points, the key terms involved in effective research: thesis, research, theory, knowledge, and a gap. Whether there is any gap, whether there is any deficiency in the law. If there is a deficiency in law, by doing research, you are trying to rectify the deficiency in the law. So whether there is any deficiency in the law, whether there is absence of law, whether there are any gaps in the law, how I am going to fill up those gaps in the law, whether am I contributing new knowledge to the field of knowledge. Professor G.B. Reddy wrote a number of books, authored as many as 20 books, where there is more authorship, there is more scholarship. So therefore, your literature review is going to, generate, a new knowledge, new scholarship. So therefore, you must be very careful in preparing this literature review. Thesis, when you talk about thesis, whether it is a doctrinal thesis or the empirical research. Doctrinal thesis means you can conveniently do in the library. It is in-house research, black house research, black letter research, armchair research. So therefore, you are testing the propositions. You are finding out some gaps. You are going to fill up the gaps in the law or deficiencies in the law or loopholes or lacunae in the law. So it is doctrinal. Similarly, there is another kind of research, means empirical research. You have to go to the field by surveying questionnaire or surveying the respondents. Who are the respondents for your research, for your survey? Find out the the respondents. You have to contact them. It is field-based research. Field-based research is now encouraged everywhere in the world. So therefore, you find out, first of all, you have to decide whether your thesis is a doctrinal or non-doctrinal, empirical, like that. Then proceed research. So in the research, as I was saying, immediately after introduction, you will have literature review. In the introduction, you are going to introduce the topic, statement of the problem, why you have chosen the topic, what made you to select the topic, whether the topic has contemporary relevance, whether the topic is of unexplored area, having social legal ramifications, whether it is burning topic of the day, the time at which you are taking the topic for research is also very, very important. Sometimes your research will be irrelevant if you are not submitting research within time. So the duration of your research is also very important while doing research. Then theory, knowledge, and the gap. So knowledge is knowledge today. So therefore, for research, the introductory part and the conclusion sessions part plays a very important role. The introductory, normally the examiner will see the introductory part and the last part of your thesis. The way in which you introduce the topic matters very much. What is the hypothesis? How are you going to test your hypothesis? Whether there is a correlation between hypothesis on the one hand and the objectives of your study. What is the scope of yours? Which I was discussing, there are so many areas which are having a lot of scope for your research, gray areas. You can think of doing research on these gray areas. So therefore, my dear, for searching literature, online is mostly nowadays, especially in the pandemic times, you can do online research very easy. You are required to type only the keywords. There are so many search engines available, such as Google Scholar, Wikipedia. In the case of literature search, the research is expected to explore questions, analytical and critical approach, the cornerstones of effective research. You have to compare, contrast different theories, confirm, defending, rejecting, and different strategies for a critical approach is very important in the literature review. So therefore, a thorough professional grasp of the area is very important, is very the aims of literature review. It is a thorough professional grasp of the area. How are you, do you have the grasp of the area for literature review to justify your research, to justify your approach? Because there are two kinds of approaches for your study. One is chronological approach, the other one is thematic approach. Chronological means from the earlier days onwards, you can have a chronological survey of the references, bibliography, or thematic research. So at the time of preparing your research, you should have a skeleton plan and writing plan, linking the research, literature research review to thesis. So therefore, last but not the least is consulting the student learning development tip sheet, quoting, paraphrasing, and also summarizing. It is in order to avoid plagiarism. So these are all very important points, my dear friends, while preparing this literature review. And sometimes the literature can be also published as a standalone articles also. Standalone publication. It is based upon previously published works in the field. It does not include the new data or experiment. It does not include unpublished material in any form. So therefore, literature gap or research gap is an unexplored topic. Always that is advisable for your research. And these standalone areas are the gold mines of information, as the readers are able to inform the idea about the current state of understanding. Then sometimes the literature review can be also categorized as experimental and theoretical. So it is keeping all these viewpoints, my dear friends. You can do research, and before doing research you can have planning, organizing, and also background study, preliminary study. Background study is preliminary study as to whether materials are available for my research. So this is how you have to do this literature survey, which is the nucleus of your research. So with this, I stop my presentation.
Sir, first there is a question from from Dr. S. Prashant. The question is, sir, whether legally endorsed homosexual marriages or endorsement of homosexual conduct are contrary to natural law. He quotes,
not natural.
He quotes that it is an infamous crime against nature.
No. See, according to some religious scripts, it is a sin, it is a perversion like that. But it is not so. Even under this section 377 IPC, any sexual intercourse against the order of nature, it is not against. It is called as unnatural offence. There is no. They are not doing anything against the order of nature. What is the nature? What is the order of nature? They are having a different sexual orientation. Sex includes sexual orientation. So because they are LGBT community, queer community, lesbian community, homosexuals, they are also created by the nature. So therefore, just like the other human beings, they are also entitled for right to dignity, right to life, dignity, and all other fundamental freedoms available for these homosexuals also. So therefore, there is nothing unnatural. Now homosexuality is legalized world over. Now gay marriages are also legalized world over in America, everywhere. Okay?
Yes, sir. Next question, sir. This is from one Miss Kalyani Misa. She asks, sir, I am doing my dissertation on Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. As it is a very recent topic, the content and previous work available is very less. How can I write my review of literature? Kindly give me a suggestion.
There is a lot of literature available on this topic. You go through Google, you search in the Google. There is a lot of material available on this. Now we are not able to Karnataka economic offender. So by committing so many offences, they are in other countries. We are not able to get them to our country for prosecution and punishment. So there is no treaty, for what is the treaty? For the any offences committed, they are in another country. So therefore, this is there is a lot of literature available. To get to economic offenders, we are not able to. Yes.
Sir, Karnataka MP Malaya, sir. Vijay Malaya. Vijay Malaya MP.
Vijay Malaya. Still he is there taking shelter in London. We are not able to. Yes.
Treaty of extradition.
Though there is a treaty, but still we are. He is not able to be prosecuted and punished in this country. So he is a fugitive economic offender. After the enactment of this law, he is the first and foremost economic offender. So there are like that. There are so many diamond merchants, diamond merchants. who are there in other countries.
Nirav Modi, sir. Nirav Modi.
Yes, Modi. They are all figurative offenders, economic offenders only. The law is not able to, help to prosecute them and punish them.
This is from Miss Rachana Varanasi. She asks, apart from printed material, how should we analyze the authenticity of the information provided online?
Online, see, if it is a print material, you can have references in the form of bibliography. If it is online sources, you can have references in bibliography. So, bibliography is very important in preparing literature review. Bibliography. Online sources, web resources. What are the web sources?
Sir, this is from one Vignanan, sir. He asked, sir, just I came across this law, Maharashtra Prevention and Eradication of Human Sacrifice and Other Inhuman, Evil and Abhorri Practices and Black Magic Act 2013. It is a criminal law act for the state of Maharashtra, India. My doubt is, will this hold good for the whole country or only confined to Maharashtra?
No, this is only a state law. There is no national legislation on this subject. Anti-superstitious, preventing anti-superstition, black magic. This is the law passed after brutal assassination of Narendra Dabolkar in Maharashtra. Narendra Dabolkar was an anti-superstition crusader. He was brutally assassinated. Afterwards, this law was passed. They were all promoting, developing scientific temper in the society. So, because of growing intolerance in this country, they were assassinated. So, who are the anti-superstition crusaders? Just like I was saying, just now, Narendra Dabolkar, Gauri Lankesh in Bangalore, like all others, Kalburgi from Karnataka. They are all heroes, anti-superstition crusaders, promoting scientific temper. But unfortunately, it is only a state law. It is applicable only in the state of Maharashtra. Like that, some other states also passed similar legislation. But now it is the time for us to have a national legislation on this subject.
Sir, can we review unpublished literature which are having relevance with the present research? Will they be accepted in reference part of the thesis?
No. Better you look at only the published works. Unpublished works are not at all the sources of literature review. Better you concentrate on published. There are so many published works. The unpublished work means you don't find the author's name. You don't, because it is not published, you don't find the date of publication. You don't find author's name. So you cannot rely upon. And it is not authentic material also. So if you talk about authenticity of the unpublished material, there is no authenticity. There is no authenticity.
Sir, the question is whether judicial activism will overcome constitutional morality. This is from one Karra Kameshwar.
No, it is by judicial activism only the doctrine of constitutional morality has been expounded by the Supreme Court. It is, but then for the doctrine of constitutional morality, which is against public morality or popular morality, constitutional morality is there, available in the preamble, is in part 3 and part 4. It is constitutional morality is a multi-dimensional subject. Plurality is included, diversity is included, distributive justice is included. So many things are there. So therefore, constitutional morality is an aspect of transformative constitutionalism. It is by judicial activism only the doctrine of constitutional morality has been expounded by the Supreme Court. So that the Constitution is like an enduring document. It is a permanent. Now the Constitution is a permanent because there is a constitutional morality, because there are so many other basic features of the Indian Constitution. Now the Constitution has become a permanent document, enduring document.
Sir, last question, sir.
Of the Constitution.
Sir, last question, sir. even this is slightly deviating from the topic, sir. So the question is, when a deity is treated as a separate, distinct person purchasing and selling properties, why can't there be certain rules followed pertaining to particular god or goddess? Why can't we? Why do we need to compare with entry into dargahs as to Sabarimalai discussion? This is from one Vijay Lakshmi.
No. See, they are all places. Dargah, mosque, masjid, temple. They are all places of worship. So entry of all women is permissible. So you cannot discriminate women, as regarding the entry of women into public places. See, Sabarimalai is a public place, but unfortunately, some of the Hindu religious practices, customary practices, have imposed a ban on the entry of women. So similarly, Quran. If you look at Quran, Islam does not impose a ban on the entry of Muslim women into dargah. But then, there is a decision by the Bombay High Court in one case. I have forgotten the name of the case. Now the matter is pending before the Supreme Court along with the Sabarimalai decision. So all women must be of the age from 10 to 50. Women of all ages must be permitted to the places of worship, whether it is dargah, whether it is masjid or mosque or temple, because women are the equal citizens of this country. Like men, they are the equal citizens of the country. You cannot discriminate women on the basis of their biology, on the basis of their religious practices or cultural specificity, etc. Now, culture, religion is playing a major role on the imposing a ban on the entry of these women. Okay. So Supreme Court is promoting in a way the equality, gender equality.
Request Dr. N. Ramprasad Garu to propose vote of thanks for the speaker, Professor Reddy Garu.
On behalf of the organizing committee of a 10-day advanced legal research methodology workshop, so it is my pleasure to give formal vote of thanks to our Professor A. Raghunath Reddy Garu. He is from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Tamil Nadu State Law University. He is because he is part of our Usmania family, and always whenever we call him, he is part of the program. Thank you very much, sir. You have the participants have enlightened by your inputs, which you have given on the various aspects of review of literature in doing legal research. And your experience itself matters now, because you have touched all the components of the advanced legal research which is presently happening. So indeed, even you have what to tell various latest cases, how to do the legal research, what are the components of reviewing the literature, and what constitutes the relevance of review of literature. All those components you have touched it, sir. So I once again thank on behalf of the organizing committee and being to be part of this the 10-day research program, 10-day legal research methodology program. I thank you once again, sir, for sharing your time and experience with us, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.